When I first started in business, I thought that leadership was all about being in charge. You get the title, you make the calls, and that's that. And I really could not have been more wrong. Because here's the truth. Leadership is about influence, not authority. It's about your ability to inspire, guide, and multiply the people around you. So that's why when I read this book, John C. Maxwell's The 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership, it really hit me. Because it's not just a list of nice ideas, it's an actual blueprint. And if you follow these laws, you grow as a leader. And if you ignore them, you can hit a ceiling pretty fast. So today I want to walk you through these laws, but not just as a list. I want to tell you some of the stories, the principles, and how you can actually use them as an entrepreneur. And let me tell you, if you grasp even half of these, you're going to move faster in business than you ever thought possible. First one to be aware of, and it's probably one of my favorites, is the law of the lid. Your leadership ability determines your level of success. Think of it like a lid on a jar. If your leadership skill is a 6 out of 10, your team, your business, your impact, they'll never rise above a 6. I've learned this the hard way. My first year running a business, I was grinding 80 hours a week. My team wasn't growing. The problem wasn't them, it was me. I was the lid. So I started raising my leadership game, learning to delegate, communicate, and inspire. And the moment I grew, my team did too. Lesson is that if you want to grow your business, grow yourself first, right? A level 6 leader will not be able to attract a level 10 leader. That's how it goes. So the next leadership law is the law of influence. Leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less. If you stripped away my title, would people still follow me? That's the real test. Influence is built through trust, consistency, and a genuine caring for other people. You really can't fake it for very long. People can spot for show leader from a mile away. And here's the kicker. Influence compounds. The more people you help, the more doors open. So before you try to be the boss, focus on being someone worth following. Law number 3, the law of process. You don't become a great leader in a weekend workshop, right? It's built daily, like compound interest. Think about going to the gym. You don't work out for 8 hours really hard one day and expect to be fit. You do it every day, a little bit, a little bit, a little bit for 20 years. And by that point, your body is just molded into that, right? So leadership's the same. You grow through experiences, reflection, feedback, effort. And here's a pro tip. Journal your leadership wins and mistakes. The lessons stick way more than when you write them down. The next law is the law of navigation. Anyone can steer the ship, but it takes a leader to chart the course. So that's a really good way to think about this. Anyone can just grab the wheel, but it takes a leader to actually chart where are we really trying to go. Good leaders think ahead. They see the iceberg before the ship hits it. When you set a direction for your business, you've got to plan for the obstacles too. Ask yourself, what could go wrong? How will we adapt? The best leaders aren't just optimistic. They're prepared. They're actual prepared realists. The next law to be aware of is the law of addition. The greatest leaders serve. When you focus on adding value to your customers, your team, your partners, leadership gets easier. I once worked under a leader who asked me, what can I do for you? And every week, that one question made me want to go the extra mile for him. When people know you're in it for them, they'll be in it for you. Really, that's the law of reciprocity too, which is not one of the leadership laws here, but it's still a law, the law of reciprocity. So the 6th law in John C. Maxwell's book is the law of solid ground. And this one is based on trust. Trust is the foundation of leadership. If you break it, you lose everything. I've seen leaders lose trust overnight with one bad decision and spend years trying to get it back. I've seen people do this in relationships, in their intimate relationships, right? So you keep your word, own your mistakes, and do the right thing even when it costs you, right? Brand reputation is very much like this as well. The next law is the law of respect. People naturally follow leaders stronger than themselves, right? This is also tailors into the law of the lid, right? People won't follow a leader that's weaker than them. So whether that's in skill, in courage, in character, you earn respect not by demanding it, but by demonstrating competence, making tough calls, and showing that you care. The next law is the law of intuition. Some leaders can walk into a room and instantly sense the vibe. Who's motivated, who's struggling, where's the real issue, where the real issues are. That's the leadership of intuition. You develop it by staying curious, being a leader for a long time, asking questions, and observing before you speak, right? So intuition is very much one of those that develops over time. It really has that compounding effect of being able to trust your instincts because you've been in these positions before. And yeah, you're learning to trust yourself. The law of magnetism is the next one. Law number 9. You don't attract who you want, you attract who you are. And this is why we have to grow our own leadership skills, because our leadership will attract other leaders. If you want disciplined, positive, growth-minded people, start by being a disciplined, positive, and growth-minded person yourself, right? Next law is the law of connection. Leaders touch a heart before they ask for a hand. I remember working for a guy who never talked business until he asked about your family, right? So this is someone who's really genuinely tried to connect with me before he ever did anything. Or I always try and connect in my coaching calls a little bit on the personal level before we just jump into business. You know, this guy that I met, and he connected with his people as humans first, and because of that, we run through the walls for him. That's the law of connection. Law number 11 is the law of the inner circle. Your potential is determined by those closest to you. If you're the most driven, ambitious person in the circle, you're probably in the wrong circles, right? At least if you're always that person. I think it is good to have a blend of sometimes being that person in the room who might be excelling in that area. Sometimes it's good to be with people that are at your level, and sometimes it's good to be the teacher, right? Surround yourself with people who challenge you. That's what I'm trying to say here. Inspire you, they call you out when you slip, and trying to upgrade your circles all the time in various categories, whether that's athleticism, business, investment, whatever, right? Number 12 is the law of empowerment. Insecure leaders hoard power. Strong leaders give it away. When you trust people with real responsibility, they grow, and your organization grows as well with them. The law of the picture, right? That's law number 13. People do what people say. If you want accountability, show accountability. If you want innovation, be innovative. Your example is the loudest message. Law number 14 is the law of buy-in. People buy into the leadership first, then the vision. If they believe in you, they'll run with your ideas, even if your plan isn't perfect. Now, law number 15 is the law of victory. Leaders find a way for the team to win, period. They don't accept defeats as options, right? So goes into that thing that a lot of entrepreneurs struggle with, is celebrating your wins. Good leaders will make sure that we pause for a moment to celebrate our wins. We don't dwell on our wins, but we do take the time to acknowledge them because it gives us energy. This is a hard one. Yeah, this is actually probably one of the ones that I'm struggle with the most, is really celebrating what I've created, what I've accomplished, right? The next law is the law of the big mo, or momentum, but I like the law of the big mo. Momentum is every leader's best friend, right? When things are moving forward, problems feel smaller and victories feel bigger. But when momentum is gone, even small challenges can feel impossible. So you want to be protecting momentum like it's gold, because once you have it, your team can feel unstoppable, right? It's so much easier to keep a ball rolling than to start it up from scratch like a big boulder. Number 17 is the law of priorities. Great leaders understand that not everything matters equally. The key is focusing time, energy, and resources on what moves the needle the most. Busyness doesn't equal productivity. The law of priorities reminds us of this. If everything is important, then nothing is important. And I honestly think that this, for a lot of people that are in the mid-range leadership and mid-range entrepreneurship, it becomes a big shift in what is a priority and what is not. That becomes the skill. How do I use my time? There's so many like $100 an hour, $200 an hour, like things we could be doing. And that at some level feels good. But like, if you want to be making $1,000 an hour, $2,000 an hour, you have to think differently and you have to prioritize differently. What actually matters to move the needle forward? Number 18 is the law of sacrifice. To go up, you have to give up. Every level of leadership requires some kind of trade-off. Maybe it's time, maybe it's comfort, maybe it's control. But the truth is, leaders grow by letting go. The law of sacrifice is about embracing short-term costs for long-term impact. Number 19 is the law of timing. The right action at the wrong time still fails. Leaders don't just ask, what should we do? They ask, when should we be doing it? Timing is the difference between stumbling and soaring. The law of timing teaches us that wisdom isn't just about knowing, it's about knowing when. Next one is the law of explosive growth. Leaders who grow followers add. Leaders who grow leaders multiply. If you want explosive growth, don't just build a team, build people who can build teams. The law of explosive growth says that your impact multiplies when you invest in leaders, not just in tasks. So that's a really big one, especially for me, even at my stage in my journey right now. It's like I need to learn more about leadership myself. And I think I'll be on this journey for the rest of my life. Because as I can develop my own personal leadership skills, then of course I'm going to be able to attract other people and help them learn about leadership as well, right? I can't teach what I don't know. So that's a continuous one, and that's why it's one of the more high impact laws. The last one is the law of legacy, number 21. True leadership isn't measured by what happens while you're there, but it's by what happens and continues to go on after you're gone. Legacy is about building something that lasts in your people, in your culture, in your mission. The law of legacy challenges us to live and lead for more than ourselves. And I think as you actualize, like if you think about Maslow's hierarchy of needs, or even Tony Robbins's law, his needs that he uses. For Tony Robbins, he uses that contribution is the highest value, best, most fulfilling thing you can have in your life. So as we actualize in our leadership journey and fulfill all the lower needs, we want to give back. And that's what legacy is all about. And then self-actualization, same idea. We want to share, be able to share in a very meaningful way and teach those who are learning, right? Giving back is like this really fulfilling thing. It's not just something you do at that stage of your life. It's really a fulfilling thing to be able to transfer knowledge and skills and share your heart with the world and have that go on after you're gone. Now, in closing, these laws, they're like gravity. They work whether you believe in them or not. You follow them, you rise. You ignore them, you fall. And here's the beautiful part. You don't need to master all 21 of these today. Pick one, focus on it for the next 30 days, do some research on it. So these were very short summaries of each of these laws. You could go into details and details of each of them. So pick one that you found attractive just now, go deeper into it, ask ChatGPT and to really dig into how to live them, practice them, and then you can move on to the next one. Because leaders, they're not born, they are built. And that's an important thing to realize, that you learn to be a leader. It's not all about just being born as a leader, right? We learn it. We learn the skills by studying them. And every day that you're really building yours. So now go ahead, lead something worth following. And here's to your leadership journey.